Everyone had a number above their head. Some glowed softly, some flickered, some were already cracked. For Mira Hale, the numbers were dates, the exact day a person would die. She had seen thousands of them. Old men with years left, children with too little time, soldiers with days, sometimes hours. She never told anyone, because knowing never changed anything. Until him. Mira was crossing 7th Street when she felt it, that familiar cold tightening behind her eyes. She looked up instinctively, and stopped. A man stood across the road, tall, dark-haired, wearing a long black coat despite the summer heat. His posture was calm, unreadable. Above his head, nothing. No date, no glow, no flicker. Just empty air. Her breath caught painfully in her chest. "That's not possible," she whispered. Her vision blurred as panic surged. She had never seen this. Everyone died. That was the rule. The curse. The truth burned into her since childhood. The man turned. Their eyes met. In that instant, Myra's power screamed. A date slammed into existence above his head in burning red letters. Tomorrow. Her knees nearly gave out. The man frowned slightly, as if he felt something brush past him. Then he looked away and walked on. Mira didn't think. She followed. She tracked him to an abandoned church at the edge of the city. Stone cracked, crosses broken, windows bordered with symbols she didn't recognize. Dark magic symbols. Her heart pounded. "Who are you?" As she stepped inside, the air shifted. Heavy. Old. The man stood at the altar, hands folded behind his back, waiting. "You're not very good at hiding," he said calmly. Mira froze. "You knew I was following you?" He turned slowly. Up close, his eyes weren't brown. They were black, threaded with faint gold. "I knew the moment you saw me," he said. "Your curse reacted." Her throat went dry. You know about it?" "I know what you are," he replied, "just as you know what I am not." Her gaze flicked upward again. The date hovered there, pulsing. "Tomorrow. You're going to die," she blurted. The man smiled faintly. Not afraid, not surprised. So it finally chose a day. Her blood ran cold. Finally, he stepped closer. The air thickened with something ancient and heavy. "My name is Selim," he said, "and until today, I was unkillable." Mira shook her head. "That's not how this works. Everyone has a date. Everyone dies," Selim finished. "Yes, I know." He raised his hand slightly. The symbols along the church walls flared to life. "This place is a seal," he continued, "and you just triggered its end." Myra's chest tightened. "I don't understand." Selim looked at her, not with hunger, not with threat, but with something dangerously close to relief. "For centuries, I was bound outside the rules of death," he said softly. "A seal god, neither alive nor allowed to die." Her heart slammed. "God. And now," she whispered. Selim's gaze locked onto hers. "Now the world has decided I can die." The church shook violently. Dust rained from the ceiling as dark magic surged. Mira staggered back. "Then we need to stop it. I've never tried to change a date, but—" Selim grabbed her wrist. The moment he touched her skin, pain exploded behind her eyes. She screamed. Images flooded her mind. War, fire, angels falling, God screaming as chains of light dragged Selim into nothingness. Tomorrow was an accident. It was an execution. Mira collapsed to her knees, gasping. "They're coming," she whispered. "Heaven, it wants you erased." Selim knelt in front of her, gripping her shoulders firmly. "Listen to me. You see my date. Means you're bound to my end." Tears burned her eyes. "I don't want this." "I know," he said quietly. "Neither did I." The church doors slammed shut on their own. Golden light bled through the cracks. The date above Selim's head burned brighter. "Tomorrow." Mira looked up at him, fear and defiance twisting together in her chest. "Then we have one day," she said, "and I'm not letting you die." Selim smiled, slow, dark, and utterly unafraid. "Careful," he murmured. "Saving me may cost you your gift or your life." Mira tightened her grip on his coat. "Then let's make it worth it." Outside, the sky thundered. Heaven had noticed. The night refused to stay quiet. Mira sat on the cracked church floor, knees pulled to her chest, staring at the faint glow above Selim's head. The word tomorrow pulsed slowly now, no longer screaming, just waiting, mocking. "So it's really happening," she whispered. "At sunrise." Selim leaned against the altar, arms crossed, shadows curling lazily around his boots. "Execution prefers daylight, makes judgment feel cleaner." Mira flinched. "You talk about it like it's routine." "For heaven," he replied calmly. "It is." She looked up at him. "Why you—" Selim's gaze drifted to the shattered stained-glass window. Moonlight spilled through, fractured and pale. "I was created to decide," he said, "back when God still argued instead of ruling." "Decide what?" "Who deserved to end," he answered. "Wars, worlds, other gods." Myra's stomach twisted. "I chose mercy once," Selim continued softly. "Heaven called it treason. They sealed me outside death so I'd watch eternity move without me." Mira swallowed hard. "And now they're correcting it." "Yes." Silence stretched. Then Mira stood abruptly. "No, I've seen dates change before." Selim turned, surprised. "You said knowing never changed anything." "I lied," she said quietly. "I've seen dates flicker. Once, when someone should have died but didn't." His eyes sharpened. "Why didn't you tell anyone?" "Because the next day," she said, voice breaking, "the number came back. Closer. Angry." Selim stepped toward her. "And what happened?" "They died anyway." The word tomorrow pulsed brighter. Selim exhaled slowly. "Then this ends the same." Mira shook her head fiercely. "Now the rule itself is broken. You said my curse reacted to you. What if it's not just seeing death dates? What if I can interrupt them?" The air shifted. Selim studied her with new intensity. "Show me." Mira hesitated, then turned her power inward, something she'd never dared. Pain bloomed behind her eyes as numbers flooded her vision. Dates hovering everywhere, bleeding through walls, layered and chaotic. She screamed. Selim caught her, steadying her as she gasped for breath. "Focus," he murmured. "On me." She did. The world narrowed to Selim, and the date above him. Mira reached for it. Her fingers passed through burning cold. The word trembled. Then it cracked. A thin fracture split the letters of tomorrow, light leaking out like blood. Mira collapsed, shaking. Selim stared upward in shock. "You damaged it," he breathed. I don't know how," she whispered. "It hurts." Footsteps thundered outside. Golden light flooded the cracks in the church doors. Selim's expression hardened instantly. "They're early." The doors exploded inward. Figures of light stepped through. 3 angels, armored, faceless, their wings etched with execution sigils. "The seal god Selim is sentenced." One intoned, "Stand aside, mortal." Mira moved in front of him without thinking. "No." The angels paused, surprised. "You are marked," the second angel said. "Your sight binds you to the sentence." "I don't care," Mira snapped. "He doesn't deserve this." Selim grabbed her arm. "Mira." She shook him off. "You chose mercy. That shouldn't be a crime." The third angel raised a blade of light. "Mercy disrupts order." Selim laughed bitterly. "There it is." The angels advanced. Myra's vision flared white as her curse screamed in protest. Dates appeared above the angels' heads. Far distant, unreadable, untouchable. "Selim," she whispered urgently. "If I break the date, what happens to me?" He hesitated. "Selim." His jaw tightened. "The sight was borrowed power," he said. "If you sever divine execution, the curse will recoil. Meaning, you may never see another date again," he said quietly. "Or you may become one." Mira met his eyes. "I'm tired of watching people die." The angel struck. Selim moved instantly, shadows exploding outward, slamming 2 angels into the walls. The third pierced through, blade flashing. Mira grabbed the glowing word above Selim's head. Pain, unlike anything she'd known, tore through her body. She screamed as the date fought back, burning into her palms. "Stop." Selim roared, grabbing her. The word shattered. Light, detonated. The angels froze mid-attack, their forms flickering uncertainly. The church fell silent. Mira collapsed into Selim's arms, gasping. Above his head, nothing. No date, no glow, just empty air. Selim stared in disbelief. You erased it. Myra's vision dimmed. She tried to focus and saw nothing. No dates. Anywhere. She laughed weakly. Guess I paid the price. The angels began to dissolve, their forms unraveling. This judgment is postponed. One hissed as it faded. Heaven will not forget. The light vanished. Selim held Mira close, terror cracking his calm. Mira, Mira, look at me. She smiled faintly. Am I dying? No, he said fiercely. You're free. She closed her eyes, exhausted. Then don't waste it. Selim pressed his forehead to hers, something ancient and protective awakening in his chest. Outside, thunder rolled again. Heaven had retreated, but it had not surrendered. Mira woke to silence, not the peaceful kind, the wrong kind. Heavy, waiting. She sat up sharply, heart racing. No numbers flooded her vision. No dates whispered behind her eyes. For the first time since she was a child, the world was blank. I really lost it, she murmured. A hand steadied her shoulder. You lost the curse, Selim said softly. Not yourself. They were no longer in the church. Stone walls curved around them, carved with ancient symbols that pulsed faintly like a sleeping heartbeat. A hidden sanctum, old enough to predate heaven's laws. Mira swung her legs off the stone bed. You brought me here? Yes, Selim replied. Somewhere angels can't see directly. She looked at him then, really looked, without the hovering date. He felt different, closer, alive. Are you okay? She asked. He smiled faintly. I should be asking you. She flexed her fingers. I feel lighter, but blind. Selim knelt in front of her. Your sight was tied to divine time. When you broke the execution, time recoiled. So what am I now? Before he could answer, the sanctum shuddered. A deep, resonant sound rolled through the stone, like a clock striking midnight. Selim's expression darkened instantly. They've changed tactics. What do you mean? Heaven can't kill me, he said, so they'll undo me. The air split open, not with light, but with absence. A figure stepped through, robed in gray, faceless, carrying a staff carved with broken hourglasses. Selim, it said, voice layered and hollow. By decree of continuum, you are declared a temporal anomaly. Myra's blood ran cold. That's not an angel. No, Selim replied grimly. It's worse. The figure turned toward Mira. And you mortal are the error. The sanctum walls began to decay, stone aging into dust in seconds. What are you doing? Mira shouted. Correcting, the entity replied. If he cannot die tomorrow, he will be erased yesterday. Time collapsed. Mira screamed as memories rewrote themselves. Streets she remembered suddenly wrong. Faces blurring, events slipping away like sand. She clutched Selim desperately. I can't hold on to anything. Selim wrapped his arms around her, shadows flaring violently. Focus on me, on now. But I can't see dates. You don't need to, he said urgently. You already changed fate once without seeing it. The entity raised a staff. The mortal no longer serves purpose. Remove her. Reality bent. Mira felt herself slipping, being pulled out of the moment unthreaded. No! Selim roared. He did something forbidden. He let go of restraint. Dark gold power erupted from him. Not destruction, but definition. He anchored himself to Mira, not with chains or seals, but with choice. Bind me, he commanded softly, not as fate, as will. Mira didn't think. She grabbed his hand. The moment she did, the world snapped back into place. Time screamed. The entity staggered. Impossible. Mortals cannot anchor gods. Mira gasped as something new ignited behind her eyes. Not dates, but threads, glowing strands connecting moments, people, possibilities. I don't see when people die anymore, she whispered in awe. I see why they live. The threads wrapped around Selim naturally, reinforcing him. The entity reeled back. You replaced prophecy with agency. Yes, Selim said coldly. She did. Mira stepped forward. Steady now. You wanted to erase him from time, but you can't. Why? The entity demanded. She smiled, small, defiant, human, because I remember him. The threads tightened. With a sound like shattering glass, the entity fractured, its hourglasses spilling into dust that aged into nothing. Silence returned. Mira sagged against Selim, breathless. What did I become? She asked quietly. Selim rested his forehead against hers. Something heaven can't predict. She laughed softly. Figures. His gaze turned serious. They won't stop. If they can't kill me or erase me, they'll come for you. Mira met his eyes without fear. Then we don't run, she said. We end this. Selim smiled, slow, proud, and dangerous. Tomorrow, he said, we go to heaven. Mira squeezed his hand. For the first time, she whispered, I'm not afraid of what comes next. Above them, unseen, time held its breath. Heaven was not a place. It was a verdict. Mira felt at the moment they crossed the threshold. An endless expanse of white gold sky, layered with floating courts and stairways that led nowhere. Every step hummed with judgment. Every breath felt measured. This is where they decide what deserves to exist. Selim said quietly. Mira tightened her grip on his hand. Around them, the thread she now saw, possibility, memory, will stretch thin and taut, trembling under heaven's gaze. Trumpets sounded, not music, warnings. Figures descended, archangels in radiant armor, wings etched with law. At their center hovered a throne of light, so bright it hurt to look at. A voice spoke from it, calm, vast, merciless. Selim, Mira hail. You stand accused of violating the continuum. Mira stepped forward before Selim could speak. We saved a life. You disrupted order. Order that kills, she shot back. That erases anything it can't control. The throne pulsed. Mercy is instability. Selim's shadow stirred, restrained but ready. Mercy is choice, he said, and choice is what you fear. The court shifted. Murmurs rippled through the ranks. From the light emerged a familiar presence, reformed, diminished. Seraphel. Its wings were smaller now, its glow muted. It would not meet Myra's eyes. Present the sentence, the throne commanded. Seraphel raised a scroll of living light. By decree, the god Selim shall be erased from all timelines. The mortal Mira hail shall be returned to ignorance, memories purged, to restore balance. Myra's chest tightened. You'll make me forget him. Yes, Seraphel said softly. It will be painless. Selim's voice broke the air like steel. No. He stepped in front of Mira. Take me. Leave her whole. Mira shook her head fiercely. Don't you dare. She felt the thread surge. Angry, alive. Listen to me, she said, raising her voice to the throne. You call yourselves eternal, but you're terrified of one thing. Silence pressed in. Change. The throne flared brighter. Enough. The sentence began. Light cascaded towards Selim, unraveling the edges of his being, memories loosening, shadows thinning. Mira screamed and did the only thing left. She pulled, not on dates, not on fate, on people. Threads burst into color as memories spilled into the court. Souls Selim had spared, wars he had ended, worlds he had not destroyed. Faces, names, futures that existed because mercy had intervened. Heaven staggered. You see outcomes, Mira cried. I see reasons. And he gave them life. Seraphel dropped the scroll. She's anchoring him with remembrance. Mira turned to the angel. You asked me to forget, but forgetting is how you keep winning. She faced the throne, blazing with resolve. If you erase him, you erase me, because I choose this. The threads wrapped around both of them, intertwined, radiant, unbreakable. Selim felt it then. Not power, but home. He took Myra's hand and spoke, not to heaven, but to the world. I renounce judgment without consent, he said. I choose a future that can change. The throne cracked. Light fractured into 1,000 shards of doubt. A new voice rose, not loud, but everywhere. Verdict revised. The court froze. Mercy is admissible. The throne dissolved into soft, falling light. Heaven did not fall. It stepped back. Seraphel bowed, head low, ashamed. You are released. The sky opened. Mira exhaled, trembling. Is it over? Selim smiled, eyes warm and human. It's begun. They returned to the world at dawn. No trumpets, no thunder, just sunlight over a waking city. Mira blinked, taking it in. No dates, no curses. Only threads, now gentle, guiding rather than binding. She laughed through tears. I don't see death anymore. Selim brushed his thumb over her knuckles. What do you see? People, she said, choosing. They didn't build temples. They walked. They healed what they could, remembered what mattered. When angels watched, they watched quietly. When time whispered, it listened. And tomorrow never came for him again, because it finally belonged to them.